Good evening. This is Doc with Dr. Patrick Live, and you guys are not going to really like what we're going to talk about today. Once again, we're going to talk about cannabis because it's such a hot issue in our culture. You have the nation's cannabis culture exploding. You have the manufacturers and the medical people at odds. You have marketers trying to say it's good for everybody. And as the research keeps coming out, it's not positive. Matter of fact, at a symposium, right, I printed out some notes at the Cape Cod Symposium on Addictive Disorders, which was held in September 7 through 10, 2023 in Massachusetts. They came up with the latest research. Now, a lot of us, when we think of cannabis, we think, oh, that's not going to hurt anybody. When I was a kid, or you think back into the 60s, well, the THC level of cannabis back in the 60s was like 4%. And at 4%, there was no withdrawals, right? You could consume enough that it would kind of put you in a mental state, but there wasn't a lot of negative effects. Well, that was 4%. So in time, the drug has become much more potent because we can't leave a good thing alone. So the last 3 to 5 years especially, it's exploded. People want to put cannabis and CBD and everything, and socks and baby food and dog food, right? It's everywhere. And everybody gets this assumption, right, that, hey, it must be really safe. Why is the federal government not legalizing it? Well, the reason is it's no longer safe. So I just want to read you some common things that are going on right now. You can disagree, it's okay. This is just what the research is saying. So number one, we see plant-based products as of today that usually have around 45% THC. Concentrates have up to 99.9% THC. The average dispensary where you walk out with concentrates, they're 60 to 70% THC. So if you're trying to figure out what that's like, it's like if you took an espresso shot from coffee and you put 2 shots in it, right? You feel the jolt of the caffeine. But what would it be like if you took 8 shots, right? It would be like, whoa. Matter of fact, if you have 800 milligrams of caffeine in your system, right, you're an addict to it, and you're going to have serious withdrawals. But all of us know any caffeine is a withdrawal. So our minds and physical health cannot consume the amount of THC that is in edibles and in flower today without serious medical concerns. The withdrawal is significant. We now have medical concerns that get us to the emergency department and beyond. The number one thing that's happening is people are developing psychotic, dissociative type of things. In other words, people now are pushing the envelope, and because of their use with THC, we're seeing more and more people dealing with psychotic issues. A psychosis is happening. And this is what's important, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, take this for anxiety, take this for bipolar. But here's the reality. If you are dealing with anxiety, agitation, depression, bipolar, and you take cannabis, the research now says it worsens your symptoms. Doesn't improve them, worsens them. The problem is while you're under the influence of cannabis, right, it blocks a lot of your brain, so you're not experiencing it. But once it leaves, right, it's going to be worse. That's what the research is saying. And the worst sometimes just doesn't go away. Our brains and our bodies are not made to handle this level of THC. If you had to go back in time and you could probably push it at 14% or lower, yeah, you could use it and it could be very powerful in a lot of good ways. The level of the THC now is deadly for many people. It's affecting people. It's hurting people. But the industry wants to grow. There's so much money in it. And you should understand the pharmaceutical company don't care about you. They care about money. They care about profit. They care about getting their things out there. And so everywhere you go when you drive around, like we're located in Florida, you see these dispensaries everywhere and medical doctors giving cannabis. But it's not based on medical science or research. It's based on a consumer demand, a marketing emphasis that has been pushing a message that is not true. We're a nation of addicts, right? We want what we want it now. We're impatient, we want things. So the marketing is trying to meet our need. They know their consumer. We're addicts. They want to get cannabis into the addict's mind because then they can't stop. and the amount of money they're making is astronomical. So if you believe this is the journey for you, please do clinical research. Read the research, understand what it's doing to your brain, because it is not good. You're rolling the dice with a psychotic episode. And it is my prayer that you understand and avoid the worst case scenario. Doc out. Peace.